Hello one and all, and welcome back to the Great Unknown audio show with me, the most appropriate face for radio, and your illustrious host, Maxim Jennings. You join me on day 2 of the Great Ocean road trip on the south coast of Australia. I hope you enjoyed episode 1, and it was really a delight for my eyes, and I hope it was the same for your ears. So let's go again, shall we? So we kind of started off day 2 as we finished day 1 when I left you last time. Obviously, because I left you in the accommodation, which is where I woke up this morning, funny enough, which was an absolutely phenomenal stay. I have to say that the Queen bed did absolute wonders for me. It was so nice to wake up and be able to roll around a bit. I mean, how great is that? I ended up not going out for dinner in the end because it was as far to go to a supermarket as it was to go to a restaurant. And I thought, let's stay economical here. We are a budget traveller, so to speak. So I went down to a local, wouldn't call it supermarket, shop. The prices in there were astronomical, to be honest with you folks. I ended up paying $24 for dinner and some fruit for breakfast. And it was just mind-boggling. I mean, I know you're a well-off economy and we are in somewhat of a middle-of-nowhere land, but the prices don't need to be that much. I looked at 100 grams of spinach and it was going to cost me $1.65. $1.65 for 100 grams of spinach. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. No chance. So I ended up going for the carnivorous option of 4 slabs of steak, small steaks, and a whole bag of chips, because they were in the frozen section. Like, I can't carry around frozen items in my car, so I've got to eat the whole thing. I was looking for a smaller size, but that was the smallest I could get, and it was very filling. It was made amends for not having a proper lunch or breakfast. But it was lovely also after finishing dinner to go back to bed. I try to get the consistency up with these episodes by editing it on the day, which is pretty rare for me. And then it was so nice to wake up at 7 a.m. to watch the somewhat sunrise and then go and have breakfast. And then there was just all of this open space in the common area, which had a lovely kitchen, by the way, used by no one. It almost felt like I was in a ghost town or a zombie movie when I arrived, because there was probably about 5 people there. Like I said on the last episode, self-service, and it was just eerie. Incredibly eerie. I mean, I'm looking at all these facilities. It was like a dining hall, a place where you could play table tennis, and then a kind of outside area where you could see the view of the ocean, which was, oh my God, magnificent. Waking up to that in the morning. I mean, what a view that is, and that's where the money's worth bit comes in, because I'm eating my Granny Smith and my yellow with green tint apple, had a plum and an orange as well, and thinking, wow, this is just absolutely fantastic. Just off the main road, and then when you're looking out where the kind of restaurant area is, like, you don't see any of the road at all. It's just all ocean, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted to stay there a bit longer, but I had to check out around 10ish, and then that led me to my first stop of the day, which was Cumberland Gorge, like the sausage. It was a nice little drive up there. I had to go kind of back on myself a bit because I didn't have enough time to visit it yesterday. So a bit more driving on the road, which I'm obviously not opposed to at all. But that was a lovely trip into the woodlands again, off-road track leading me up to the gorge. A lot of different waterfalls you could see there. But I just kind of went for the river run walk. A bit of a downhill trek into the creek, so to speak. But nonetheless, incredibly enjoyable, because once again, like most of my travelling routes, I've been going through on the off-tourist season, so everywhere is just open and unused, and it just feels so nice. You could just walk forever without seeing anyone, because at the end of the day, who wants to meet another person whilst travelling? That's not the point of it, is it? No, but that was very enjoyable, and now I'm on to my second stop, She Oak Falls. So I'm just on the way. It's about half a mile from where the car park is to the waterfalls, but this one is right on the Great Ocean Road, so I thought I've got to check this one out, and hopefully it's going to give me a lovely view of the waterfall one way and a lovely view of the turquoise ocean today. I think there's been a bit more sunlight on it, and when the wash crashes against the rocks, it brings out this turquoise colour, the colour that was evading me in my descriptions yesterday. But for now, I'll meet you when I get to the waterfalls and give you a lovely poetic description, as always, when we arrive there. And one thing that I keep forgetting to do, which is just a little bit of housekeeping, nice to have a little intermission before we actually take a detour to go to a place called Swallow Cave, is that to inform you guys that we're also on YouTube now, so you can not only find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we also have our own YouTube playlist. So if you search my name, Maxim Jennings, that's MAXIMJENNINGS, you will find my own little YouTube channel, and the first playlist, if you click on podcasts, you'll see all the episodes from the Great Unknown Audio Show. We're on YouTube. Thanks very much. So we are at Swallow Cave now. It's got a nice little stream going past it and lots of different, they look like almost honeycomb incisions into the rocks. Now I am not great with geology or with wildlife in general, but they look a bit like bat holes, and so from working through the Christopher Nolan saga of Batman, I know that bats live in bat caves. This is a cave, so it could be where the bats live. Obviously we're in the middle of the night, bats are nocturnal, but it's a sight, to be fair. It's not the biggest cave that I've seen, but I think what surprised me the most since being on this Great Ocean Road is that they tell you about an attraction, lots of signposts everywhere, and then when you get to the attraction, it's 3 or 4 more different avenues you can go down, different more things to enjoy for free. One of the beauties of the outdoors, which is great. So in light of that, just been to Swallow Cave. Now I'm going to go up to a lookout point, which is about 2.5 kilometres away, to what I thought was going to be just a quick up and down to the waterfall, about a mile long. It's turning into something completely different, and I've got time for it, which is great. Right, we made it to the lookout, Castle Rock Viewpoint. This one's called. It's fantastic. It's a bit breezy, but you're almost in the canyon, overlooking a creek, which then overlooks almost like a lagoon. And this viewpoint is one of my favourites so far. It took a bit of a while to get here. You're surrounded by trees throughout the entire walk up there. You get to the top and it's just like a track. But both sides you can see the cliff edges and the forest that goes for miles and miles. It's easily one of the nicest walks I've done so far. And then you get to this place where there's a nice bench you can sit on. It doesn't feel like you're really taking up too much space, and you just see the sea right in front of you. See what I did there? Keep it going. Right, you got a little bit of beach, nice bit of sea, and the clouds are very prominent, but it's still a light blue sky. Doesn't look like it's going to be much rain. It was a bit of rain this morning, but other than that, hasn't been too bad. We're going to go back down to the waterfalls now. You'll hear from me when I get there. Right, we're at our last stop for this little section of the trip. Accompanied by some, I want to say, East Asian tourists who are doing a bunch of great poses. But yeah, this is kind of the main event, She Oak Falls. It's a much tamer waterfall than Erskine Falls, but the rocks are incredibly dark, which is making the little pool surrounding the waterfall incredibly dark, almost like a squid ink colour, which is pretty cool. Looks untouched. Nice little viewing spot, nice little place to take some lovely poses, which we're seeing in abundance here, which is great. This place is a bit more well-trodden than Erskine Falls and some of the other places I visited. There was no one up at the lookout. To be fair, it's a bit of a distance, but yeah, this place is pretty cool, and I've enjoyed it a lot so far. Right, we are back in the car now. We've just left YHA Eco Hostel in Apollo Bay. Very nice vicinity. Lovely ecological setup, as it says in the name. I'm in a 4-person dorm It's basically the size of the room I had last night. But it's all very clean, very nice. I had to just drop off my bag and go to the toilet, all that fun stuff, before going off to Shrapnel Gully, which is the final stop in today's itinerary. Hopefully, well, from the different travel blogs that I've read, they've said that this is your most probable chance of seeing koalas. And they like to come out in the late afternoon, so that's exactly what I've done. It's 5:15, hopefully not too late. And Apollo Bay is right next to where I bought my groceries last night, so that's also handy. And as I was checking in, I wanted to drop the bag off and then look in the kitchen to see what facilities they have, so I could see what I could do with dinner tonight. All looks great, by the way. And then as I was vacating the vicinity, the reception is right next to the exit. But then I came to the conundrum when I was trying to leave, that there was a handle that, first of all, I thought that it was an automatic door because it said slide. So when I walked at the door and it didn't open, I was like, huh. Then I saw a handle and thought, oh, I just need to open the door and slide the handle across. But in doing that, that also meant that the door slid across before my eyes. So I had, in fact, looked at an open door already and then slid the door to shut it. And she went, oh, it's already open, and started laughing at me, which was absolutely fantastic, because what I should have done is just walk straight through the door. And I got complete second-hand embarrassment from a first-hand experience. I mean, because usually if my friend does something embarrassing, like, I will crease and cringe and it will be absolutely horrible. But in this case, like in so many other cases, it's me on my own and I've just done that to embarrass myself. But it was almost a blessing in disguise, because if the door had not been open and I just walked straight into it, that would have been even worse. But it's still not great, and I'm not very happy with myself. Right, folks, so after a very eventful trip to Shrapnel Gully, which turned out to have no koalas whatsoever, I then had to take a detour. It was called the Great River Road, which was another 20 minutes back up, closer to Melbourne. And then I drove very slowly, courteously, for a good hour and a half looking for koalas, and had seen photos online that they like to come out at dusk, and it was the right time, and we were unfortunate not to see any, but we did manage to see a few bouncing animals. And when it got to the end of our journey up and down the Grey River Road, I managed to see a big old boy, a big old kangaroo, just before going back onto the main road, which was pretty cool. Just kind of looked at me in the middle of the road and then bounced off to the side and then just kept looking back. And I've seen the videos of kangaroos getting aggressive and using their fists to start a punch-out, so I thought best not stick around for too long because I don't want the rental getting damaged. But that was a great experience. So unfortunately no koalas, but some other wildlife in there, which is great. So it wasn't a trip wasted. At the end of last episode, I don't know if you recall or not, that there was a lady who was singing. She was a member of one of the First Peoples, and it was a recording I got when I went to one of their exhibits at the Melbourne History Museum. It was a fantastic exhibit in light of the lost referendum, Australian government signing a treaty towards the First People to give them more representation in Parliament. So it was fantastic that the Melbourne History Museum carried on this exhibition for an extended date, and so that I could walk around and read so many different stories about forgotten pieces of history amongst the First People and those people who lost their lives when colonisers came over, and how those pieces in Australian history aren't written anywhere. Stories that are folklore amongst the First People, but they were not really acknowledged. Going back to this little piece of audio that I shared at the end, it's a mourning song. So along with the mourning song, they would then wear a mask, and depending on the death of their loved ones, they can wear that mask for over 6 months, which is crazy. But I thought I'd just put that little bit at the end. I know it might have caught a few people off guard, but it's always important to have a few little vocal anecdotes in there as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and thank you once again for listening to the Great Unknown audio show with me, Maxim Jennings, and I look forward to you listening to the next one. Goodbye.